Hello, everyone. Welcome to Two Off the Tee Fantasy Six Packs Golf Gambling DFS Show. I am your host, resident nerd stat guy Keith Flemming, joined by the ruggedly handsome and running a little late Ryan Mulvey, host of ESPN Northwest Florida's Inside Drive. What is going on, Ryan?
Just life, all that good stuff. Bess up in North Alabama with her mom, and prayers
Oh,
for
that's
her and
right.
the
I forgot
family.
it's just you and the
Yeah.
kids, isn't it?
So I'm holding it down. I get a lot of help from some other people too, but we had football practice tonight, ran a little bit late. It's a million degrees out there, trying to find something for dinner. But here I am hanging out with you on my favorite podcast, Two Off the Tee.
You damn right it is.
Yes.
Before we get into the golf, I want to talk just for a minute about that. I went to Colorado, played some really cool courses with a good buddy of mine, Joe Eastup, my buddy Ricky. First day, 9,000 feet
Love it.
above sea level. Kind of messed me up, not going to lie. It
The
probably didn't
altitude's
help
no
that we
joke.
were smoking cigarettes, smoking left-handed cigarettes. We were doing all kinds of stuff, and that
It's
probably didn't
Colorado.
help.
Yeah.
With the thin air, but the ball sure did travel. And then we played Fossil Trace.
Yeah.
The last full day we were there, which man, for what is technically a municipal golf course, just absolutely incredible. And what I think I told you is my favorite part about it being a municipal course, pace of play, all that being a concern. One of those courses that there's a lot of spots you can miss it really wide, and it would throw it back in the fairway or throw it on the greens. And who doesn't like that, right? Like
I mean,
that's the kind of course that's fun to play.
it's a testament to a great design, and in this day and age where what's the number one thing people usually care about where when they're traveling to play golf? Pace of play. So when you
Mm-hmm.
design a golf course that a lot of people are going to be playing that aren't familiar with it, it's nice when they design it like that, because then you don't have people looking for golf balls,
Yep.
taking forever, and it makes everybody's experience more enjoyable.
And there's nothing better than when you hit one 30 yards right,
Yep.
and next thing you know, you've got 15 feet for birdie. You're like, oh, hello.
Yes, it's
Just
like
like I
playing.
drew it up.
Yeah, it's like playing Golden Tee courses where they're
Yeah,
in
right.
canyons and stuff like that.
I
Very
will
very
say it
cool.
is one of those courses that we were talking about. I'm assuming once you kind of figure it out, you can actually make it much easier. But what would be crazy is like not actually going after flags, but playing a lot of those big slopes and stuff, which is really cool.
Yeah, being
Uh,
creative.
the only other thing I wanted to cover before we get into this, I think I talked about this on the show last year. We went on a golf trip to Myrtle Beach. My dad fell when we
Yep.
went to play putt putt, busted his hand open. He'd been drinking quite a few Chuck Weisers that
Chuck
night.
Weisers.
It was bad, man. It really
Mm.
was. I was worried about him, but he was okay. And actually, his spirits were great for somebody who, his hand was swollen and stuff. Well, he's in St. Simon's with my mother, who they just celebrated, by the way,
I
their
saw that. You told me about
46
it, and then I saw the
years
post. It's their
anniversary.
anniversary, and that
Yep.
happened.
So,
Brutal.
and my sister, brother-in-law, the three kids, and apparently Chuck had a little too much fun at the beach yesterday.
Mm.
Because I realized later that my brother-in-law had sent me a picture of the two of them, and when Chuck's eyes start kind of going inward, that
Yes.
means he's having a good time.
Telltale sign.
Is a very telltale sign. And apparently he was playing with my nephew Brian, who's 3. Chuck fell,
Mm.
and the exact opposite hand,
No.
same thing happened. Same thing.
Yeah.
He had to get 9 stitches.
So he's like breaking his fall with his hands, and he keeps cutting them open.
Man, who knows with this guy? He's a character, man. That's all I can say.
Yikes.
But this is what I love about my father. They go to urgent care. My mom's very frustrated, as she told me. She goes, I was concerned about us making our anniversary dinner, and all your father was concerned about was whether or not he'd be able to play golf the rest of the week. And I go, well, in fairness to him, like, it's going to be a pretty crappy trip if he's down there for a whole week and he can't golf. I mean, that's what we do. So I can report he bandaged and wrapped that bitch up Went out, shot a smooth 88 today. I
Ooh,
asked him, I said, how'd it feel? He goes, oh, I'm not going to lie, it hurt.
I'm sure it did. Did
And
they
I
give him
said,
any
well,
kind
how'd you
of?
do that? He goes, I got the medicine, so
Yep, yep.
between the Chuckwisers and probably some other fun treats, he was able to get through the round. So I'm glad he's feeling better. My dad is just, I'm serious, the best. What's up, Ronnie in the chat? Could PGA please do something for fantasy sports? Dude, I 100% agree with him.
Yeah.
We had, Hovland a couple of weeks ago.
Finau
Um,
too recently, right?
and I would like to know, like, to me, DraftKings, this is an easy W for them because we're all degenerates. I mean, let's
Yeah.
be honest. We're going to come back. And it's going to make me come back even more if a guy withdraws last second, like what you have in some of these situations, and you refund the person.
Yeah.
Eat the L,
Or
DraftKings. I promise you in the long run, you're going to get a lot more out of us.
yeah, and even let him do even if it's last minute play started, let him replace them with something. I mean,
Right?
there's easy solutions. I like the refund too. I mean, regardless, but
Or
when
a
they're just
ticket to another event. You can some way.
there's so much stuff they can do, and it seems to be happening more and more often in recent time for sure. So that's a great comment, great point.
I also think these guys that we've talked about it, Byron really went into detail on it. These guys are almost like race cars now at this point.
Yep.
They're revving their engines, you know what I'm saying, almost redlining it every week. And I think that's why some of the injuries are starting to occur. Just like we see in the NBA, it seems like, all of a sudden Achilles injuries. Used to
Oh
be
yeah.
something that was an older player injury. Now it's younger. And I think it's just the game is so much more competitive, fast paced, everything that this is just what happens. We're going to get into the Genesis Scottish Open in just a second. I do want to real quick touch on that mofo Brian Campbell did it again.
He's
He
the
once
playoff king.
again hurt me. I had Poke Geider at the Mexico Open earlier this year, and I had Emiliano Grillo
Gosh
last
darn it.
week. And you
Ugh.
know what? I don't care because for the guy that is dead last on tour and driving distance to have 2 dubs this year, like as somebody who even in their heyday was never a long knocker, it
Yeah.
warms my soul. And I
Yeah,
think
it's
we're
good for the
seeing something in the PGA and Tour Jenner because Russell Henley in the bottom 6, he's won this year. Brian Harmon in the bottom 20 in driving distance, he's won this year. I hope this means the PGA Tour is starting to set up courses to where bomb and gouge is not the only way these guys could win. Because I remember the Brad Faxons, the Fred Funks, like got Corey Pavins,
Corey
who
Pavin. Yeah,
it
no
was such
doubt.
a skill because they were so good, very similar to Campbell, just hitting that ball right down the middle all the time, and sticking it with their irons, and just I love it, man. Like, good for him. This is a guy that's like 31 years old. This is only his 48th start. That is a telltale sign of somebody who has had a journeyman career.
That's
And
the
now with 2
definition of it.
wins, it's time to have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, talk about being able to play loose going forward. I mean, winning on that just opens up so much, and I thought it was really cool too. University of Illinois alum, played at University of Illinois.
Yep.
3 hours, what, south of Champaign or
I
north?
believe that's right. Yeah, that's what
Okay,
they're
I
saying.
can't remember if it was north or south, but I mean, always pretty cool when you can win in your home state.
Went back and was practicing with
Yep.
the college team, which how cool is that for that college
Yeah.
team now to be able to say, yeah, basically I got Campbell ready to win that tournament. It was me.
Yep, absolutely.
So I want to give him big kudos. But the good news is we are going from one of the weakest fields that we've seen this year to one of the strongest.
Yes. It's pretty wild how the Scottish Open has become such this massive event nowadays, and it's a
You know
DP
why though,
World Tour
Ryan,
event.
right?
Why is that?
Because 3 years ago, they decided this was going to be a PGA
Co-sanctioned,
/ DP World
yep.
Tour, and the fields have just gotten so strong. Because you look those
Yes.
first few years when like Aaron Rye won here,
Yep.
and Minwoo Lee, pretty weak fields,
Yes.
to be honest. It was mostly DP World Tour guys and then guys that just wanted to get their reps in before the Open.
Yeah, getting ready on the overseas courses.
Since they've changed that, man, like, again, only the Players' Championship has been a stronger field this year, and that is what I want to see. I know that, like, I mean, this is for me the dream. Like, we're gonna get back-to-back weeks of guys going off, like while I'm still sleeping. I'm gonna wake up, guys are playing golf. It's
Yep.
great.
The
I
beauty of
just, oh
the
man, I
opens
love it. And I mean, we've had a star-studded, winners again since they have kind
made
of
it
turn
co-sanctioned.
this
Yeah.
co-sanctioned event. You had Xander in 22, you had Rory in 23, and then our boy McIntyre last year in 24.
The
Um,
Scott.
go ahead.
I
Oh, the
said this.
Scott.
I said the Scott.
The
Yep.
Scott. Yeah.
The Scott winning the Scottish.
It is. It needs to be said always with links courses. You got to pay attention to the weather because in 2022, when we saw the worst of the winds, Xander won at 7 under. We've since seen a couple of 20 and 22 unders win this event with calmer winds, depending on the weather. And we know over in these link style courses that can literally change day to day.
Yep.
That will obviously play a big factor in kind of what happens, but this is a venue for me that automatically I'm looking, okay, with Link's course, is it a course that you can bomb it, or is it a course that there's trouble everywhere? This is one of those courses you can bomb it. One of some of the widest fairways that you ever see for Link's courses. I mean, this is literally bombs away. And don't get me wrong, because of the firm conditions, as long as you don't get a lot of rain, that is going to allow shorter guys to contend. We've seen that with like Tom Kim, Aaron Rye won here, earlier. But I still think distance is such a huge factor. If you look at the last 3 years, at least 10 of the top 15 guys in terms of finishers for the event were above average for the week. And driving distance, I mean, again, like Rory, Xander will pound it. That's 2 of your 3 winners there.
Yeah.
So driver distance is huge for me. Anytime you're playing link style golf, where especially these have got massive greens, obviously strokes gained approach is huge because this is one of those venues that you can hit it like just okay and hit like 15, 16 greens in regulation.
Yeah.
And really actually lose strokes to the field. You know what I'm saying? He's still hitting greens. The side of that to me is strokes gained putting is, yes, something you want to pay attention to, but more importantly, I'm looking at approach putts and 3-putt avoidance.
Three-putt
Again, you got
avoidance,
these really slow, big greens. It is so important to be able to lag putts and to avoid 3-putts. So that's a big one for me. Strokes gained around the greens are obviously huge. And then the big thing for me this week is par 4s from 450 to 500 yards, par 5s from 550 to 600. Literally, that is going to take up roughly half of the holes on this golf course are par 4s because there's 6 par 4s of 450 or more. And then you got the 3 par 5s that are all that 550 to 600. And again, getting back into the distance and it being an advantage, you got 3 reachable par 5s for the longer guys, like very reachable. You got a par 4 that you can drive for the longer guys and 6 par 4s that play 450 plus. So you can do well here without distance. I'm not saying that's the be all end all, but I think distance is a huge advantage this week. So obviously I leaned into that as well. And then just looking at how do they play at this event and how do they play in links golf courses, period. You can look at the Open Championship for the guys on the DP World Tour. You can look at like the Alfred Dunhill. Like there's a couple of different events that are also always on link style courses. But I think, don't you agree that like some guys just play links courses well, some guys don't, and identifying those players can be so huge weeks like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, links golf is you've got to, because nothing's framed. So you've got to be able to really focus down and pick your targets out in the distance versus, trying to hit down these tree lined Parkland style golf courses. So a lot of people that just doesn't fit their eye and they never play well on link style golf courses. And a lot of these guys in the field grew up playing on link style golf courses as well. And then, of course, you've got guys like Scotty Scheffler who play good golf no matter what golf course it is. As long as it has grass on it and a hole, he usually plays pretty well. So,
And also flighting the ball, I meant to,
yeah.
mention
Yep.
as well. Like, that's so important. Like, Bryson is somebody that I think this will be the major that Bryson has the hardest time winning. Because I do think Bryson's going to, like, have a chance to win all 4 majors. He's just too talented and too good, and he draws it so straight and everything. But this has been the one major because of the wind, and he hits it so freaking high
Yep.
that he struggles. He does have a hard time flighting it, and that is something that, to me, again, just like I actually think this and the U.S. Open are going to be, like, I think easy for Scheffler to get. Like, I know that he's got the other two, so it's like, Keith, how are you going to say they're easy? Like a U.S. Open, there's no way Scotty Scheffler's not winning a U.S. Open. You just can't tell me he's too good of a ball striker, right?
Yep.
But even this venue, I don't know if there's anybody better on tour at flighting the ball, controlling distance into the wind. And obviously, we saw him finish third here 2 years ago when he played in this event. He did not play in it last year. So those are all really big things. Anything you want to add on the venue before we kind of get into maybe what we're looking for on the betting and DFS side?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you get off the fairways. They're wide, they're fast, they're firm, but a couple errant shots. So those guys that struggle, that miss a big
The
one
big
every now
miss, yeah.
and then, the big miss can really add up in your
Fescue.
score on this style golf course. I mean, losing balls, having to take 2 or 3 shots to get back into play. I mean, it's these type of golf courses. If you hit it real crooked, you just got to take your medicine and get it back into the fairway. So definitely keying in on that driver accuracy in combination with distance as well.
Absolutely. Let's start with, again, the betting side of it, which is
Yeah.
what we did last week. I kind of like that because we can just, in general, have a conversation, because I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, this is a week that I would recommend, again, not betting a lot of outright winners. I think
Yeah.
that now when there's events with Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy in it, and
Yep.
it's on a venue, again, that Rory's won here, Scheffler's finished third just in the last 2 years. I don't think, like, yeah, take your shots. There'll be a few that you obviously want to, bet on. I've got, like, I think 5 this week. But overall, I mean, if Scheffler or Rory show up with their A game, that's probably it, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's probably over.
Yeah.
So I just don't think this is the kind of event where you take a bunch of shots, right? Like, especially in the 40, 50, 70, 80,
Yeah.
and, these, like, crazy long odds. Last week was the week for
The
that.
last
You could
2
hit
weeks, we had
Campbell,
that
right?
kind of
Yep.
that kind of more of an opportunity on the winner's side, but this
Bingo.
is almost like a major. There's really
It's a mini major. I really think
when
it
you
is.
go. Oh, I like that mini major. That's a fun phrase. When you go overseas and these type of golf courses, it's just like the PGA. When we talked about the PGA, there's probably a dozen, maybe 15 guys that have a legitimate shot to win this tournament. And then outside of that, it's almost a waste of money. And that's why, like we always say, when you're betting these kind of tournaments, your top 5s, 10s, 20s are really where you want to live. Because although looking at Hard Rock, Scotty Scheffler is plus 425 on Hard Rock. So a little over 4-1 odds, not too bad. But again, when's the last
He's
tournament?
never won a link style event. So
Yeah.
that would probably be the one time even though that's pretty juicy with
For
Scheffler.
Scheffler, yeah.
I think that I would have to pass on that. And again, the one thing I do want to add to the caveat of what I just said about the outright winners, if by Wednesday the weather's going to be crazy,
Yeah.
that changes everything. And I think at that point, basically, if it was a horse, racing analogy, pick your mutters, right? Like the guys that are okay playing in really difficult conditions, and sure, take your shots. But if it's just going to be an average week, which again, that can be pretty gusty and stuff, for a link style course, there's too many at the top. Like, I mean, I think if you could give me Xander, Rory, and Scheffler or the field, I think I'd take those 3 guys, because Xander has also done very well at this venue. He won the Open last year. He's obvious, he's got a win here, a win at the Open in the last 3 years. He's obviously very comfortable on links courses. Again, Rory, Scheffler is only a matter of time. So, but I will say there is some guys that I bet outright, and Xander's the first one. I feel like at 20-1, that's a value. And
Yeah.
I'm okay taking that. Like, I am okay taking a shot with Xander this week. I'm going to make it my normal unit size bet. I'm not going to do anything crazy. What's going on, Kyle? It's good to see you. But I do think that Xander at 20-1. Again, he won this event just 3 years ago when it was a very deep field.
Yep.
And I'd almost forgotten, to be honest, he won the Open Championship last year. So that's now 2 links wins in his last 6 starts. And he's slowly starting to show signs of, he also was dealing injuries, right? Like at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
And his numbers and metrics have looked a lot better the last 2 months than it did early this season. And Xander coming off a 2 major season would really want to get another major championship, and he'll have a chance to defend obviously next week at the Open. And what better way to be like, I'm back, than to get a win? Because he has not had a win this year. That's something that Xander has done pretty routinely. I think I think he's had a win at least each of the last 4 seasons. So I like Xander a lot at 20-1. I don't have another person until we get to the 40-1 range. Do you have any players in the lower odds that you like betting to win?
Other than Schauffele, I still can't trust Ludwig, although I'd love to. I'd like him in the prop world. Any chance you think McIntyre can go back-to-back at this event?
I mean, I wouldn't put it against him because he finished runner-up the year before, right?
Yeah.
Like, so obviously
Kinda
he
his
likes
wheelhouse.
this venue.
Yep.
But again, I just think this is such a tough field. I don't know if he has the game to do that. That's a big ask.
Yeah.
To
And he
beat
hasn't
this
really
kind of
been
field
playing
2 years in a row.
Yeah, and hasn't really been playing great
No.
lately. So that's why I'd probably stay away from him. I mean, other than once now you get, like you said, to that 40-50 range, then you start to see some value with guys like Sepp Straka. Corey Connors obviously is playing great golf right now.
Straka's my boy, but he's dead to me. I'm not betting on him anymore. We're done.
No.
Oh, yeah. Dude, he's killed me in DK majors. Like, killed me. I would have had
Well,
one
this
of the
isn't a
biggest
major.
paydays of my life. It's not, but it's a mini major.
Mini major, an MM.
So the guy that I'm all over, I've been kind of, talking about this dude for about a month.
It's got to be Sam Burns.
It's Sam Burns, man.
There you go.
It's coming.
40-1.
Like I keep telling people, the win is coming. He's got 5 wins. His 6 is coming soon. He would probably rather it be next week, and I'm okay with that too. But at 40-1, this is a guy, he finished 19th in this event 2 years ago. He did not play in it last year. Burns hits it plenty far enough off the tee. We know he's the best putter in the world, hands down, and that is huge this week because, again, massive greens. You can really take advantage if you're gaining strokes on these greens. It's been hugely important. It's hard to do, but hugely important at these venues. But the big reason I'm so big on Burns is what has kept him from winning in recent years is his iron game has really fell off.
Yeah.
And guess what? He is now in 4 straight tournaments gained strokes on approach, averaging almost a full shot on the field on approach. He continues to do that. He will win, I promise you, because every other part of his game is just too damn good. And we've seen that with his results. Like, I think he's finished like top 20 now in 6 straight starts. He's had a runner-up in that, time span. So I love Burns at 40-1. I think that is a tremendous value. And I think that, that's something real quickly before I move on that, because this is interesting. Yes, Kyle, to answer your question in short, I do have concern about coming off injury. It's the same thing I said about Victor Hovland. I went on the Pivots and Divots show before doing this one. I love Hovland for this event and this venue. I love Corey Connors for this event and venue, but I'm doing like $100, $200 single entries on DK. I'm not putting a guy in there that I'm worried, something could happen. And because it's a major the week after, it's even more likely, right, that if they even don't feel comfortable, it'd make way more sense to back out of this event than it would to back out of like next week. So, again, if you're talking about non-cash DFS lineups, go for it. Prop bets, again, I'm okay with it. I would not feel comfortable betting them outright, and I would not feel comfortable putting them in cash, DFS lineups. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that pattern in golf over and over again. Hell, we saw it with Scotty Scheffler for a little
Mm-hmm.
while coming off the surgery of
Yep.
his hand. It took him a little while to really get back there.
Yep.
So, I mean, if these guys are coming off injury, I mean, unless your name is Chuck, then usually it's tough to get back there playing high level golf. So, I would certainly stay away from Connors on the DFS, like you said, and non cash games may be a shot to take in there if you're looking for somebody in that range.
Because he is statistically fits a lot of the build, and then again he's had success. He's had success at this venue, back-to-back top 20s. But again, it does scare me. Again, after Burns, I have a guy in the 60 range I'm taking a shot on. Do you have anybody in that 40 to 60 range though before I get to that?
I like Brian Harmon at 75 to 1. Is that who you were going to say?
No, he's actually, this is going to make you sick. He's 90 to 1 on DK.
What? I'm getting screwed in Florida, like always.
So let's go over his prop odds real quick, because he is my gauntlet guy this week. I am recommending him to win top 5, top 10, top 20 across the board.
All across.
Top 5 odds, 14 to 1 on DK.
16 to 1 on Hard Rock. That's where we always differ, is the bets to win are always better on.
I think that's a win for you, though. Here, so what is his top 10? He's 6 to 1 on DK.
7 to 1.
That's right. And then he is plus 275 to top 20.
3 to 1 to top 20. That's like a no-brainer. I'm gonna throw as much as I can at that one.
Why don't you make the case for Harmon?
Great ball striker. Great putter, loves link style golf courses, doesn't really get himself into trouble. And those are 4 things that, those you put all those together. And when you've won a major in Ireland, Scotland, Great Britain, wherever it is, you have, in my opinion, you have a big advantage over people who haven't, simply because it's just such different golf than we play week in and week out over here in the States.
Yeah, he's a mutter, at what I was just talking about. And actually, again, the more nasty the weather is, I think it's the better for Harmon. But the great news is he has proven in the last few years, forget the win. You could throw the win out. He has another 3rd place finish at an Open Championship. He has another 6th place finish at an Open Championship. And then the last 2 years at this venue, when it's been shootouts, he finished 21st and 12th. So he has quietly became one of the best links players in the world. And then on top of that, he tends to really do well at venues that he historically plays well. You need an example of that. He won earlier this year. We gave you that at the Texas Open, which was at an event that, again, he had played well at. He had kind of hit another little slump. Guess what? He went to the Travelers, which was his last start, another venue that he has historically played well. He finished 8th. So I feel really good about Harmon. I love him in cash on DK. 7,500. I don't think you can beat that. He's in a majority of my cash game lineups. And again, the win bet is obviously a prayer, but I feel very good at 14 to 1, 6 to 1, and plus 275. Even better for you at, like, what'd you say, 16, 7 to 1, and 3 to 1. Like, sign me up. And I would make the biggest unit bet, obviously, on the top 20. And then I think you could just do a regular, your normal size unit bet for the top 5 and top 10, because obviously if those hit, you're going to be having a good week anyway.
Absolutely. That feels like some deja vu there when we were really on him at the Open Championship a couple years ago when he won.
You remember I picked him as like my pick.
I know.
Not
he
as
was like you were all in.
I said Brian Harmon is winning the Open Championship. I felt like the smartest guy alive for a week.
That's why I feel
and
like
then the next tournament happened.
Yeah.
Which happens
a lot. But yeah. No.
I do like another guy who does not have experience, but he fits just the profile, and that's Harry Hall. He is an English player, so I find it hard to believe, and I don't know this, but he's never played. He's played in one Scottish Open. He finished 60th. He's never played in the Open Championship. I would have to assume, with him being from England, he's played a good bit of link-style golf.
I mean,
but I don't know that. Yeah. I don't know that for sure. So that is the issue. But, I mean, he just, again, bombs it off the tee. He's one of the longer guys on tour. He's top 20 on strokes gained around the green and on them, which that is a huge deal at venues like this. And then the big thing for me, again, what are we talking about? Par 4 and par 5 scoring, I think, is so huge. He's 24th in par 5 scoring. He's second in par 4 scoring. He's good in those approach putt metrics, 3-putt avoidance metrics. Like, I like him, and you're getting him at 60 to 1. That would not, shock me. Obviously, again, I had Harmon at 90 to 1, and the other one is Byung-Hun An at 90 to 1, who is another guy that historically has played these link style venues well. He's had, I think, a second or third place finish at Renaissance just in the last 3 years. And again, he's a guy that pounds the ball off the tee, plays par 5s really well. And for somebody that does not putt great, it is encouraging to see his metrics for the approach putt and 3-putt avoidance is good. Yeah. And that might be why he plays link style courses well, right? Because he's going to out ball strike most guys, most rounds. And on these slow, gigantic greens, as long as you're not giving away strokes on the greens, right, by like 3-putting, you're going to do very well. But again, because of Scheffler, Rory, and just really the respect I have for them and the way they've played this year, plus you got Xander and all these other guys, I would rather put a bunch of bets, and that's what I did. I have 5 outright bets and then went with 15 props this week of top 5s, top 10s, and top 20s because I think that's where the value is.
100%. This is one that I've got better odds to win. Byung-Hun An is 100 to 1 on Hard Rock. He's plus 1750 to top 5. He is, where'd he go? Usually, he's plus 750 to top 10, and then top 20 he is plus 325.
So Kyle's got a question about other Canadians. Taylor Pendrith is somebody who should play well on link style courses. He doesn't have a ton of experience or success. Nick Taylor is somebody I like this week, particularly on DraftKings and cash games. He's such a good iron player. He's such a good putter. I would lean, like, if I was going to play these guys, it would be Pendrith and Taylor. I'd probably stick away from Hughes a little bit because, again, you can survive out here and be a shorter guy. We're talking about, like, Brian Harmon, but Hughes is just not an elite iron player to where Taylor, who's not that long, is an elite iron player. And then Taylor Pendrith, like, guys like him and Keith Mitchell, they can really get it going on a golf course like this because they can just pound driver. And as Ryan was saying, as long as they're not having these huge misses, they're going to be fine. So I do like those guys, but I do think that there's some better values. Like, I love, and we'll get into the DK plays in a little bit, but I love the kind of the 9K to 7,500 range this week. The top 5 bets, like, obviously Hall and Harmon are in there for me, who are also outright winners. They're 10 and 14 to 1. But the bigger kind of unit bets I'm making, Xander plus 360 feels like, again, real value. Fleetwood at 4 to 1. I can't bet him to win. I tried to get there, but I just can't. But I would be happy.
He needs to get over that hump, and why not
to bet
do
him to top 5. And then this is where I didn't want to bet McIntyre outright, but getting plus 550 to top 5, knowing he's finished winner, runner-up the last 2 years.
Yeah.
That's where I'm okay, not only betting it, but actually making it like 2 or 3 times what my normal unit wager is here, because it would not shock me at all if he does it again. I just think it's so hard to win an event like this back-to-back years when, like we were talking about, this is the second strongest field of the year, and it's kind of the same deal last year.
Absolutely. I mean, and Tommy Fleetwood on DraftKings on Hard Rocks plus 225 to top 10. You know, you go with the larger unit bet on that one. You're probably sitting
good odds. I think he's like 150 on DK.
Gotcha. It's weird how the odds are so not that different, but slightly where it makes a difference when where you're betting.
It makes me think that people are not doing prop bets on Hard Rock.
as
obviously,
much.
right?
Yeah,
Like people
no,
are
for
doing
sure.
outright winners, and I learned from Alan, our good friend, a long time ago that 9 times out of 10, it's the props are where you can really make
Yeah.
a consistent profit week in and week out, and then you just hope to throw in a winner a couple of times a year.
Yeah, and you hit a winner every now and then, and you
Yep.
really boost up your bank and ready to go. I really like I had some success last week with the first round 18-hole matchups, just one-on-one.
Ooh, so who did you go with last week? If you don't
Let
mind
me.
me asking, or do
No,
you
it's
see any
fine.
this week you like?
I'll look up last week's. It was where is it? I gotta go with my full history because I bet too many times. It was man, who was it? It was I think it was Cam Champ versus somebody in the first. No, it was Ben Griffin versus crap. I can't remember now, and it's not in my recent
That's all
history
right.
because I've been betting too much. I did get the Lucas Glover top 10. Got lucky on that one. Where is it
No, you
here?
didn't.
He
That's not
didn't.
luck. No, I said that's not luck though with Lucas
Oh,
Glover. I mean, I
well,
told you last
he
week.
shot that deep last round, and
He did, but
that's
that's okay.
really what put
It
him in
counts
there.
all the same. That was my biggest
Ah,
wager last week was the top 20 at plus 275. That hit.
yep. It was your boy Denny McCarthy versus Chris Kirk in the first round.
Ah,
And I went large on that one. Not a huge payout, but when you go larger, obviously you win.
yeah,
But
obviously, yeah.
that one seemed like a no-brainer to me, and
Mm-hmm.
it certainly paid out. Let me look. There's got to
Is
be
there
some
any
good.
you like this week?
Um, Oberg versus Schauffele. I mean, you're not getting great odds. Minus 115 for Schauffele. I'd probably
I
take
think those are
Schauffele.
pretty good odds.
Yeah,
Now, I will say Oberg has been trending a little bit more in the right direction. I think something was wrong with him. I know he got
yeah,
sick, and then it
yep,
just seemed like it lingered. Cause it would not like honestly it would not surprise me at all if he wins either of the next 2 weeks. Like he's that talented, and his numbers were finally starting to look a little bit more like they did most of all of last year, especially tee to green. That's what was so shocking was like his irons were awful
yeah,
for like a
yep.
2 month stretch, and I mean you look at that guy swinging, you're like that's impossible. So,
Yeah,
uh,
his swing is so on
it's
point.
so good.
They got Fleetwood versus Morikawa. Morikawa's getting plus odds at plus 100. That might be
Ooh, I
one I'll.
kind of like that too.
Yeah.
Calling to somebody who in my model
Fleetwood's
really
minus one.
popped. And I like his new caddy too.
Yes, yes, yes. Matt Fitzpatrick versus Ryan Fox. Ryan Fox is getting plus odds as well. Fitzpatrick's only minus 125, so no big deal there. What do you think about this one, Keith? Gracerman and English. English is getting plus odds. Gracerman's only minus 115. The cool thing about this too is you can parlay these all together and just get those odds
Right.
coming really up. Obviously, all it takes is one to
Because
miss.
that's what I was talking about. Of course, last week it would have failed thanks to freaking Alex Smalley, who just, man, what a jerk. But I agree with you. I'm trying to see real quick. Let's see what Harris English has done historically in the Open. So he finished T34 in the 2024 Scottish Open. He made the
Yeah.
cut in the 2024 Open Championship, missed the cut in the 2023 and the 2022, but he also, again, T42 at the 2022's Open. So, ironically, I thought he had a little better Open record than this, but he is not. What's funny is his best links finish was all the way back in 2013. He finished T15th that year at the Open. But I do like Harris this week because his metrics really meet up to it, but it does make me a little less confident seeing that he has not really played that well. I mean, he's played, at least 10, 15 starts at this point just in this event and the Open, and the fact he's only got one top 20, that is a little concerning to me. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people that are on Gracerman this week. Again, he's somebody that doesn't have a lot of experience in link style courses, and that concerns me a little bit. I think that it's important for players to sort of learn how to play these courses, and that takes practice, just like anything else. But I'm not against it. Let's do real quickly a few top 20s. We'll do DFS and we'll get out of here.
Okay. Real quick, I had one
Yeah,
more
go
fun
ahead.
one.
Sure.
Round one, 18-hole match, Fleetwood versus McIlroy. Fleetwood's getting plus odds, and McIlroy doesn't always start
What
great.
is Fleetwood's odds at?
Plus 105. McIlroy is minus 125. Again, that's just first round, not the whole tournament.
Rory is the hardest guy for me this week to figure out for DK
Yeah.
Cash because with him being $1,000 cheaper than excuse me, $2,000
It's cheaper
cheaper.
than Jeff.
This guy's 1,700.
Jeez.
And this is the kind of course that like when Rory, I mean, it's wide open, right? So
Yeah.
like Rory is going to be able to just bomb driver everywhere. And this is not like Rory up until the last like 4 or 5 years, not a great links course player.
Yep.
Now you look at it, yes, I know that he's won only the one Scottish Open and hasn't been able to, to win the Open in what, a decade or whatever.
Yeah, it's been a
But
while.
he is consistently finishing like top 5 in these things and playing really well. And I'm probably going to get Rory in a few cash game lineups. I just am because again,
Versus Scheffler.
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
and it's one of the few times I'd ever do that.
Well, it frees up more money to use
Yep.
in the rest of your lineup.
And again, I just like Scheffler has that 1 third place finish, but overall the Open has been the major thus far. He's had the worst results in, right?
Yep.
Like of
Yeah.
all the majors. So, I do think that there's some really good values top 20. Harmon, again, I mentioned at plus 275.
Yeah.
How about Tom Kim plus 240? This is a guy that's finished 15th or better the last 3 years at this event. He loves this venue. I know his form's not good, but that's a big deal. Like when you have a guy that has 3 years in a row, again, think about in very deep fields, finished top 15. He likes his venue. I'm getting, almost plus 250 odds there. And then the other two guys.
3-1 on Hard Rock.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
I know. I just
Romain Langaski. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, but that's okay. He is plus 550 to top 20. He finished 25th here 2 years ago, third last year. He fits a lot of the metrics, hits it a mile off the tee. He's played well also in the Open Championship several times, so I like that a lot. And then my boy Marcel Sim. I'm disappointed he cut his hair. I really am because he used to look like my buddy Ricky, but that's okay. He is 12-1 to top 20. There is a stat. I want to make sure I get this correct because I was reading it earlier. So there is only 7 players who are above average. Or no, excuse me, 9 players who rank top 30 in all these categories. It's like par 4s 450 to 500, par 5s 550 to 600. There's a couple other metrics. Listen to this list: Scotty, Rory, Fleetwood, McIntyre, Connors, Mitchell, Noren, and Marcel Sim. That is important to me. 50%.
We were out there for a second, so you might need to. I don't know if it was all of us, just you, just me, but
I don't know what happened. But anyway, I'm sorry. Marcel Sim though is on this list of guys again. Par 4s 450 to 500, par 5s 550 to 600. There's 9 players who rank top 30 on both of those holes, like from those distances. And again, the list is Scotty, Rory, Colin Morikawa, Connors, Mitchell, Fleetwood, McIntyre, Noren, and Marcel Sim. And Sim is the only guy under 7K on DK. And again, he's 12-1 to top 20. That is enough for me to throw a few bucks on Marcel Sim. So that is the last of my bets. You got any more? We'll do some DFS plays. If not, then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, I'm gonna take 14-1 on your boy Marcel Sim that I had no idea who he even was. So I'm gonna bet that real quick, and then we can move on to DK because I am tired.
I mean, that is a wild stat, though. And again, 50% of the holes are going to fall into that category. Either par 4s that play 450 to 500 or par 5s that are 550, 600. So I just like, to me, that's worth it at 14-1. Same thing, even to put him, I have him in some cash lineups. I think he's 6,200 this week.
Gotcha.
The DK plays this week. I am anchoring my cash game lineups with uh, no surprise because we've talked about these guys, but uh, my boy Sam Burns is in a lot of them. Uh, Harry Hall we talked about, and then there's another guy that I didn't bet him this week, but he's going to be in a lot of lineups, and that is Ryan Fox at 8,500. You can argue that Ryan Fox, outside of like Scheffler and Ben Griffin, hottest guy on the tour right now. His
Yeah.
last 6 events, multiple wins. I think his worst finish is like 21st. And he fits the bill here. Like he hits it far. He dominates par fives. He's a really good iron player. And I believe, do I have it written down right here? He is also somebody who actually does well with approach putts and whatnot. Yeah, 26 on approach putts, 8th and 3rd putt avoidance. He's top 40 in par 5 scoring. So that is somebody I have obviously in a lot of lineups because I think that when you can start a lineup, with like say Burns and Hall or Burns and Fox, that makes a lot of sense. I also, again, Brian Harmon, we talked about earlier. I
No
just
brainer. Everything.
7,500. Yeah, love him. And then again, in this under 7K range, the Langask, who we talked about, he's 6,700. Multiple top 25 finishes here each of the last 2 years. He's actually got better each of the two. And then Marcel Sim is 6,200.
Yeah.
Who I think is even worth in cash. Like basically right now, the lineups I have with Scheffler, that's how I did it. Was I went
Yep.
Scheffler and Sim, and then was still able to kind of fill out my lineup the way I want to. One guy that's very interesting to me is Alejandro Tosti. He has never played in an Open Championship. He's never played in a Scottish Open, but his game fits the mold for this kind of golf course. He has excelled at venues that you could just let the driver fly. Again, you just basically have to worry about wide misses. Again, he's not a great putter, but he doesn't three putt a lot. He's a good approach putter, very good around the greens. He's interesting to me, but again, for cash games, the other guys I really like kind of sticking in lineups is I'm okay with Fleetwood. I love Matthew Fitzpatrick this week. I think that he's a real value. Same deal that I'm kind of saying with Sam Burns. I think it's only a matter of time for Fitzpatrick gets back in the winner's circle as well. Why wouldn't it make sense that's over in Europe with all of his experience playing that, starting his career on the DP World Tour. And then Thomas Dietrich is a guy I really like this week at 7,800
Hits the ball
for
a mile.
cash games. He hits the ball a mile, really good on and around the greens. He just, to me, makes a lot of sense. And again, like I originally had Corey Connors in the value category. And again, you can find all my DFS and betting cheat sheets on Fantasy Six Pack. Use the promo code F6PPGA. It's $8.50 a month. Best deal you ever have. And I ended up taking him off of it because I am a little concerned because I do cash. If I was doing MME, like multi-entries, let it fly with Connors because he's a great fit for this golf course. He's got a good history on this venue, but I'm scared. Like if I'm putting $100 and $200 on one entry, I don't want to bring any risk into it. Why would I do that? Like I'm the one telling you to play Scheffler most weeks in cash game lineup. So like I believe in taking the safe approach. That's how you win money consistently in cash games. So I would be leery of Connors. And I'd also be leery of Hovland, who again I like both of them. They really fit my model, but with them both coming off the injuries, that's risky to me. Any other guys you just want to highlight for DraftKings?
There's some just fantastic guys in that
Your boy
772.
Woodland, by the way, I think is 7,100. He's had a good record on links courses for his career.
Yes, and he's getting into shape nicely, kind of week in
Mhm.
and week out. Um, Justin Rose obviously has a good track record
Yep.
overseas. He's 7,300. Keith Mitchell 7,400, right in that same thing. Obviously playing great, and I don't know how it fits your model, but in my mind, he fits the
Oh, I mean, bombs driver, right? Like
Yep.
he's a good iron player. He's somebody that he's just got to putt well, and
Yeah,
I wouldn't be
that's my
surprised if he's right there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just so many guys in that range. I mean, Daniel Berger's in that range too. Thorborn Olsen, he's there too. He plays great. Open championships, Scottish Opens, all those things kind of fits that bill as well.
And don't be afraid to look up the Europeans. I know there's not a
Yeah.
lot of like data on it, and I don't either. But just go back and look at their history at the Alfred Dunhill, the
Hmm.
Open Championship, and this event. Those are all three always at links venues.
Yes.
And when you see guys that consistently do well at those three events, and there's a lot of them, those guys are safe to play. I was looking at it. They've had at least, I believe it's 6 of the top 15. Each of the last 3 years have been from the DP World Tour.
Yeah.
So, and they're the cheap values. It's kind of like the live tax, right? It's the
Yeah.
DP World Tour tax this week where, again, like Mansell, 6,700, young English kid that hits it a freaking mile. He's somebody that played well here last year. It was his first time. I believe he finished 10th. And he's been playing really well this year. Like, there's a lot of guys you can get. I'm going to butcher the name again. The Frenchman, Couvra, 6,900. He's had an incredible year on the DP World Tour where I think he's got like 7 top 10s already this year, a win, and like 4 other top 5s. So, I mean, these guys, again, also are more used to these conditions and stuff.
They play it, yeah.
Do not be afraid to dip your toe. I actually feel if you're going to go cheap, go with those DP World Tour
DP
guys because
guys,
they
yep.
are I think the true values to where if you're playing Americans down there, they either don't have the track record or they're not in good form. So that would be my recommendation, for the kind of the cheap guys this week.
Yeah, there's a lot of those guys under 7,000 that are just
Tons
kind
of
of
them.
sticking out like
Yep.
DP World Tour guy, DP World Tour guy. A lot of this is kind of a fun week from both
Oh,
the
I can't
betting
wait to watch it. And this
and
is
the
great for the Open, right? Like
yep,
watch and seriously, like
it's
get
a
a
great
leg up
preview.
because it's the same deal. Like some of these guys from the DP World Tour who you've probably never heard of, and that's the same for me. Somebody who, follows this stuff all the time. I don't know who half these guys are.
Yep.
And you get a little leg up, right? Like maybe we see, for instance, Mansell, like I was talking about, look really good this week, and then I might, make a big bet on the top 10 or top 20 next week. Like those are the kind of legs up that you can get from watching, and it's why I just love that they're doing this now. Because
Yeah, I mean,
used to they would go to the venue, some would go play the Scottish Open, whatever. Now
yep.
we know we're going to get back-to-back weeks.
Well, and I can't think of another event on tour, even a major, where you have a similar event right
Right.
the week before to give you a great idea of how these guys. And it's not 100% because nothing's 100%, but at least you have real, actual, same style course data literally the week before. So, like you said, Keith, watch it, pay attention, use all the data from this event to give you as much of an advantage going into the Open Championship.
Absolutely. I know you're tired. I am too, bro.
But you just got back from Colorado.
I did, and on top of that, today at work, I'll maybe tell you this story tomorrow on the air.
There you
We
go.
had somebody pull a gun today at
Ooh.
Alfred Tup Homes. I got to call the cops. It was a whole
Peace
ordeal.
up, A-Town down.
Yep, you never know what's going to happen in the ATL.
I do see
everybody
that.
was okay, just for the record.
Good, good.
It was resolved, but I just told the guy, like, look, man, I'm sorry. I know that it turned into an altercation. Maybe you felt, threatened or whatever. But dude, like once you pulled a gun, I had to call the cops. Like, what are
That
you doing, man? It's a
escalates
freaking park. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep,
at that point, you kind of tied my hands there, bro.
yep,
So,
no doubt.
don't be looking at me. As they handcuffed. They ended up letting him go with a
Yeah.
warning. But I'm saying, like, when he was handcuffed, he's looking at me like, I hate you. And I'm like, dude, you pulled a gun.
You
It's not my
you
fault.
put me in that
Yeah.
position. Yep.
So go to hell. But Ryan, appreciate you jumping
Yeah,
on.
always
Dad of the
a
year,
pleasure.
man. Like, just
I'm
killing it at the house.
holding it down,
Best
holding it
who
down.
is what I'm sure the kids are saying now. They're probably like, "Where's Mama?"
The dogs are for sure,
Oh,
especially
really? I did not
Ollie.
know that.
Yeah, the little
Oh.
one's kinda my dog, and then the bigger one's kinda her dog,
Oh,
so
that's sweet.
and
That's the
I
way it is with Nico and
Yep,
Lola here. It's the
yep,
same deal where Nico's my guy and Lola's definitely Brittany. So,
yep, it's
and
funny
the
how that works.
personalities kind of match. You know, Nico's a little entitled asshole, and Lola's kind of a goofy, sweet, whatever. And I
Well,
think that's pretty much me and Brittany to a T. So,
there you go.
guys, I enjoyed hanging out tonight talking golf. Be sure to check out Ryan's show on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. They have an app. Go download it. You can listen to it. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on Facebook. You can watch it all over the place. But the app is my favorite. Like, just
Yeah.
download it. You can just, use Spotify or whatever. And again, be sure to check out all the stuff I got going on Fantasy Six Pack. And check me and Ryan out tomorrow on the radio where we're going to talk some more golf and maybe talk a little bit more about Chuck and his adventures.
Some
So,
Chuck stories. Hopefully
yeah.
the autobiography or just the biography on Chuck will eventually get produced.
It's gonna be insane. I'm
Yeah.
ready for it though. But
Yeah.
Ryan, you the man.
I
Guys, have a
appreciate
good
you as
one. We'll see you
always.
soon. Take
Take
care,
care.
buddy. Yep.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Later, buddy.
Bye.